What's going on, everybody? So this video is going to be just kind of me talking and almost thinking out loud. But EA just announced that they're essentially using my ratings overhaul more or less. And, I'm not saying they're stealing it. I'm not saying that I deserve credit or any of this. I think there's smart people at EA that very well could have thought about this on their own. So I want to get that out of the way. I more want to talk about what this means for franchise and what this means for me and my channel a little bit moving forward, because those of you that have been around for the good 3 years that this channel has had, and I might as well take this video to thank you guys for your support. We reached 20,000 subscribers recently and things are going really well, and I'm excited for the future. But the heart of this video, and really how I started to attract people early on, was 3 years ago. I had this grand idea about franchise mode, player ratings, and this overhaul of a roster integrated with my own film and with PFF grades that was really going to improve the scaling system of the ratings for Madden, and not just make the gameplay better, because you're going to actually notice the difference between your superstar players and the massive cluster of, replacement level starters that make up the majority of the NFL. Well, in EA's roster, pretty much every starter in the game was 80 plus, and there was like no real difficulty in team building. Like, you could essentially always find a high quality starter, and there just wasn't a whole lot of parity, I guess, or too much parity maybe. So EA is going with this, and if they do it right, it's going to be a massive upgrade for franchise mode. And I just want to say, everyone, those that are familiar with my roster and have been around here are not freaking out, because they've been playing with this roster overhaul for over 2 years now. But a lot of people are like, what? A starter in the 60? You're crazy. This is BS. What are you doing? You're ruining Madden. No, they are improving Madden by a large margin. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this. They've already kind of pretty clearly had some PFF influence. As I do my overhauls, I do see a lot of consistency with PFF grades. I may bring a different element, having worked for PFF, kind of understanding a little more where those grades come from, but that's besides the point. I'm excited to see what this roster looks like next year, and is this a franchise exclusive roster, or is this going to be the whole thing? And if this is the roster, right, the one that gets used for online head-to-head, for play now, that's a pretty big step for EA, because, we've all said we want franchise mode, right? We want them to, acknowledge franchise, have simulation football. Well, that roster is a general roster, right? You're going to have kids picking the game up that just want to play now. You're going to have the NFL players that want their ratings to be as high as possible. You've got the competitive guys. That main roster is more than just a franchise roster, and that's why I've always said my roster is specific for franchise mode. Don't use it if you want to play, head-to-head, even though it would still work just fine. But I'm excited to see what this thing looks like, but more importantly, this is them saying, franchise mode is important, and that roster that we put out every year, it should be more about good quality gameplay, reflecting realism, and less so about, a publicity stunt. Like, I don't want to be the bad guy that says this, but there's a lot of players that do have no business being rated like they are. Ryan Shazier, I hope he comes back. He's an excellent player and a great dude, and I'm cheering for him. But, using reality, there's no way he should be at like in high 80s overall, and even if he comes back, he shouldn't be that fast. Andre Howell just retired last year. He had, Hodgkin's lymphoma. Good comeback story. But he was rated like an 87 overall out of nowhere. He was like mid-70s. The offseason happened. He has cancer. And he comes back and he's like a high 80s. Like, where does this come from? He's a nice player. But, the Texans aren't really going to miss him. He just retired. So, like, I just think it's an interesting step in the right direction for franchise mode. For me, and by the way, those that have not used my roster, you're going to love the way this plays in franchise mode. It's a huge difference maker. And the people that use mine will back that up. For me and my roster, I don't know what I'm going to do. If this thing looks good and it's pretty consistent with my ratings, I might not even have to do my roster, at least until, the off season when we update transactions and stuff. There's obviously still going to be a demand for that, but I might not need to commit. I don't know, how much time do I spend on these rosters every year? 2,000 hours per Madden, more or less, and that's all free labor that has helped grow this channel, which I'm very thankful for. But I think at this point I'll probably have some kind of variation. I'll still have a custom roster, with players that I think might still be overrated and underrated. But there's like 3,000 players in every roster, and most of them are unknown guys that I have to lower to fit this overhaul scale that you see here. So for me, I'm excited because I may have just opened up half my year when Madden comes out. More time to watch film, more time to do rebuilds, start prepping for the draft earlier. It could be big for my own kind of free time. Or not free time, that's time that goes towards this channel that is now my full-time job alongside PFF. So that's just me talking into a microphone. This isn't really going to appeal to too many people outside of those that have stuck behind me. So, if you're watching this, you are a true fan, and I am genuinely just so grateful for the last 2 years. And I don't know if EA saw my roster and decided to do this overhaul. I know I've talked to Swami, Andre Weingarten, about this kind of stuff. I'm sure he had a say in this. I'm not, trying to, beg for credit or anything, because it's a kind of original thought that I'm very proud of, and this has been kind of my baby. But I'm not going to say that someone else couldn't have had this idea as well. It makes a lot of sense to do it this way. So I am pretty happy. Would I have liked a DM from someone saying, "Hey, thank you for all your hard work on the roster"? Maybe. I don't care. It's in the past now. We're looking forward. So again, thank you for watching this, my loyal, lovely subscribers and followers. I really appreciate all of you. And Madden 20's, around the corner. It's getting exciting here. So peace out, guys. We'll see you later.